all you're ever doing as a salesperson, in my opinion, all we're ever doing is just trying to ask very good questions. I think
That's right.
sales is always just about questions. If I can get you to what you want, if I'm trying to recruit somebody, all I'm ever doing is I'm just saying, if I can get you what you just told me you wanted, is there any reason that would, anything that you could think of that would stop you from, moving forward with me? I mean, if I can get you that, would you come with me on this ride? Can we do this together? And the truth is most people, they don't care. This is why I think a lot of salespeople, they struggle, because they don't really care about the customer. They care about the sale. They're counting their commission check before they even have the commission check, instead of really trying to figure out, how can I do a good job for my client and give them what it is that they desire? Because at the end of the day, I'll pay anybody whatever they need to. I don't care what I got to pay them, as long as you can get me to where I want to go. Well, then I'm going to be your customer for life. Just help me get what I want. And that, I think, is the big difference, right?
It needs to be said. It needs to be said again and again and again. And it doesn't matter. I'm dealing with this right now. I'm wanting to buy an investment property in the Miami area, and you would I'm having like hell trying to get a decent real estate agent to help me with what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to a point where I have a cash flow producing investment property. And you would think a market as robust as Miami, they would like, okay, I found you 5. Here's the pro formas, boom, boom, boom. And no, it's like, well, I set up some showings for this thing and that. It's like, no, you're not understanding where I'm trying to get to. Help me get there. And it needs to be said over and over and over and over again. Where is the customer trying to get to? And tee up the solutions. Make it a no-brainer. Make it so easy to do business with yourself. Everybody needs to be reminded of that.
And then I want to come back again and again and again
and tell my friends about you.
That's it. I mean, it's so fun. I love when you finally find somebody that's good, that follows up, that does what they're supposed to do. Like, I think probably, to a fault, it's one of my pet peeves, is that, when somebody doesn't do what they say they're going to do. I mean, one of the worst things that I ever have to do, I own real estate as well, and I own some commercial property, and you want to get somebody to do some work for you, right? It's not like, especially in the building. It's so some of these quotes get pretty big, but it's like, if you tell me you're going to be there at noon, don't show up at 1 o'clock, right? I mean, it's like, I don't ever, it's the wildest thing to me, because it's not like you're so busy you don't want to make any more money. Like, I don't know any salesperson that like has so much business they don't want to make any more money, right? We all want to make more money. If we can get one more sale today, that's good for the client. It's good for us. It's good for everybody, because we're making money and it's a win-win. But I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, you can't put me in your calendar and make sure that, like, this is in the old days, right? I used to have to go to people's houses. Now it's everything Zoom now. But I mean, I used to have to go to people's houses, and I'd drive all the way across town, and I'd get to their house, but I would always go early. I would always, hundreds of times I would sit down the street, because I wouldn't like to get there too early. I don't want to mess them up if they were doing something else. They were expecting me there at 1 o'clock, right?
You were on deck though.
I was down the street, right? Yeah. Probably people are looking out their windows going, who's this stalker out on the street, sitting in his car, like, better, who is this guy? But I would go down the street. And so that way I knew that traffic couldn't mess me up. Nothing else could mess me up. Because I figured if I was there 10 or 15 minutes early, I was always on time. I'd show up to that door, maybe, 1 minute, 2 minutes beforehand, and I would be there for them. And I know, and obviously you can't quantify this, but I know that I got a lot of business through those early years, because I was trusted. My clients, they trusted me. Even though I was a young guy, I started in business at 21. So I was doing business with people that were 45 and I was 21, and they were buying from me like crazy. And so, because I think that I really stepped up my gain so I could be reliable and people can trust me that they were going to get the service that I was promising them. So do you see that sometimes in the sales business, that some of these sales guys, sometimes they just
Absolutely.
they don't show up?
It's comically bad, and it's almost easier than it's ever been to go from 0 to 1. You can literally, if you want to lay it out like 10 levels of a video game, level 1, 2, and 3, you can just get through sheer hustle and literally outworking your competitors, and like one of my favorite quotes is Steve Martin. He says, "Be so good they can't say no." And if you can just be so good they can't say no, that'll get you through the first 4 or 5 levels of the game, to where then you can build routines, systems, processes around that hustle. The problem is a lot of people want to skip levels 1 through 3 and they want to just go to level 4, and you can't do that. You got to beat those first 3 levels. You got to roll up your sleeves. You got to be there early. You got to sit a quarter mile down the road and be ready. And you got to be willing to do that. You can't skip that hustle piece. And I see this. I mean, I see this every day with running GreenPal. I see which vendors do well and which ones don't. And I see it just in my day-to-day life. In fact, I saw it the other day when I sold my first company and I left Nashville.
Mhm.
I had to sell my house, and I remember there was this kid that knocked on my door who wanted to clean my pool, and I had a pool guy, but for some reason this kid reminded me of myself 10 years
Mhm.
earlier. He said, "Man, I really want your business," and I was like, "Okay, no problem. You can take care of it every week from here on out." And I said, "But I'm selling my house." He goes, "No problem. I want to be able to help you sell the house with a crystal clean pool." And I'm like, "That's cool."
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
he's like, "Do you have any showings coming up?" I'm like, "Actually, yeah, I got a showing this Saturday." He said, "Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll come over Saturday morning. I'll be there at 9 o'clock, and I will put some pool toys in there, and we'll make it look lively, and we'll make sure it's crystal clean." And I'll be damned if he didn't do that. And I paid him. And then I did end up selling the house, and I almost forgot about all that. Well, fast forward 10 years later, I'm back in town for something, and I'm just driving down a random street, like a random commercial artery through the middle of town, and I see on the side of the road a professional storefront with the same name, same logo, everything. 10 trucks out front, like a $100,000 front end loader, and it's a pool company, and it's Backyard Blues Pool Service. That's the same kid 10 years ago. And I'm like, damn, that is him. Look at that. He's got a fenced in lot with trucks back there. And I mean, he looks like he's in service and installation now. He's installing pools. And then I was like, I wasn't the least bit surprised. I wasn't the least bit surprised because I could just see from the hustle that he had 10 years ago, he was probably 20. And I just wasn't the least bit surprised that he had now probably built a $5 million business, maybe $10 million business in a decade. So it's like, be so good they can't say no, especially through levels 1 through 3 can help you go from 0 to 1 and put
Yeah.
yourself on the map.
Yeah. How you do the little things is how you do everything.
That's right.
And yeah, this is a good lesson. I hope people are getting a lot out of this. Look, I want everybody just, do me a favor before the day's over, get it in touch with Bryan and ask him, just maybe on Instagram, because you're on Instagram, right? Bryan Clayton.
Yeah, that's right. Bryan M. Clayton just dropped me a DM there.
Bryan M. Clayton, drop him a DM, say, hey, look, I saw you on Wealth on the Beach podcast with Daniel Alonzo. And reach out and look, I mean, check out the app, right? Go to greenpal.com, check out the app and see if you can, see if you could get your lawn services through them. It's a great service. It's very easy to use. I actually got on it and I was messing with it a little bit, and it's very easy to use. And it's just a new way of doing things. And I think it's just really convenient and it works really, really well. So, try it, check it out. And then look, if there's any challenges with it, or you think you have an idea for it or whatever, reach out to Bryan, man. He's
hit me up.
He wants to know, he wants to get better. And by the way, this is how you should be thinking as well, as somebody that's trying to grow your own businesses out there. you should be thinking that same way. You should want feedback. You should want mentorship. You should want accountability. You should want somebody to tell you when things are not right. Anybody could say, "Oh, man, you're so great. Everything's wonderful. Everything's fantastic." But just remember, anybody that wants to do something great in their life, I always loved the feedback from my mentor. I always loved when he told me things that I was doing wrong. I never took it personal, never got upset when he said, "Hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong," because it allowed me to change and grow and alter. If you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. If you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.